It's sort of amazing to imagine that a book that was conceived and written by a teenage girl 200 years ago should have ended up being one of the great classics of world literature. Who, in the West at least, has not used the word Frankenstein, seen the movies, all the movies, the endless knockoffs? So who was this teenage girl who was able to enter our minds in that way? Mary Shelley was the daughter of Mary Wollstonecraft, who was an intellectual of great stature in the late 18th century, deeply versed in the philosophy and political theory of her time. And she produced one of the great classics of feminist thought, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Mary Wollstonecraft lived out her ideas about women's rights and women's freedom. She had various children by various men, and the last of these children was the woman who has come down to us as Mary Shelley. She died, that is, Mary Wollstonecraft died 10 days after her daughter Mary was born. And so Mary Shelley grew up without a mother. Mary Shelley's father was William Godwin, who was as preeminent an intellectual in his day as Mary Wollstonecraft. And through his living room came the leading lights of intellectual and artistic life of the early 19th century. And there are stories of Mary Shelley and her stepsister and half-sister hiding behind the couch at night when they were supposed to be in bed, listening to Samuel Taylor Coleridge recite the Rime of the Ancient Mariner to his friends. It was a pretty exciting place to grow up in. For a girl who never went to school. She was in a position to learn firsthand some of the most exciting ideas of this very exciting time in London. One of the people who ran through that living room, who came through that living room, was a young man called Percy Bysshe Shelley. He was a tremendous influence, his poetry and his political thought as well, not only on poets and novelists in the 19th century and beyond, but on major political thinkers such as Karl Marx, Leo Tolstoy, and Mahatma Gandhi, interestingly enough. He took one look at Mary Shelley and declared that if she didn't fall in love with him the way he had fallen in love with her, that he would commit suicide. And Mary Shelley was 16 years old at the time, so that was quite a line. And she fell in love with him, and they ran off together to Switzerland for the first time. That was in 1814. She was 16 years old. Her father was utterly horrified because though he had amazingly progressive ideas, they didn't apply to his daughter. 2 years later, they ended up again in Switzerland, this time living in the mountains above Geneva, in a house that they had rented that was beside a villa that Lord Byron was staying in. And Lord Byron was a friend of Percy Bysshe Shelley. There were 5 young people, Byron Shelley and Mary Shelley, who at the time was still Mary Godwin, not married to him, John William Polidori, who was Byron's friend and physician, and Claire Claremont, who was the stepsister of Mary, and had had an affair with Byron the year before and was anxious to reconnect and so on. So it was a tumultuous and interesting set of friends who were living all together. The weather was bad. They read to each other, and they started reading ghost stories to each other. And they were so interested in these that they decided it would be really fun to have a kind of contest and write these stories themselves and see who would come up with something really good. And then Mary Shelley, after hearing a conversation between Percy Shelley and Byron about electricity and how maybe you could create life by electrifying a dead body, had a dream about that, and out of that came Frankenstein.